I am Maia Szalavitz. I am the author of 7 books, most recently Unbroken Brain, A Revolutionary New Way of Understanding Addiction, which is about addiction as a learning disorder. I had my own addiction to cocaine and heroin in my 20s. Having had that personal experience, I knew that a lot of the stuff that we say about these things is just wrong. There's traditionally been 2 ways of seeing addiction. It's either a sin and you're a horrible bad person and you are just choosing to be a hedonist, or it's a chronic progressive disease. While I certainly believe that addiction is a medical problem and should be dealt with by the health system, the way we've conceptualized addiction as a disease is not actually accurate. I see addiction as a learning disorder, and most scientists, I can't imagine that there would be any neuroscientists who would say, oh no, learning's not involved in addiction. Basically, addiction is when you fall in love with a drug rather than your child or a lover. And the learning that takes place in that part of the brain is designed by evolution to get us to persist despite negative consequences when we need to do. Punishment is not going to fix it. We should not be putting kids in cages and hoping that it is going to fix their psychological problems of any type. Incarceration, it's as useful for addiction as it is for diabetes, i.e. not useful, and potentially harmful. What we're doing is causing harm now at the moment. For kids who are incarcerated for good or for ill, obviously what we need to do, if we're stuck with that, is provide dignified, respectful, empathic care as much as is possible in that setting. In a criminal justice setting, it's very hard to create a therapeutic environment where people do feel safe, but the real important thing to do is do your best to do that. If you're worried about a child and their drug use, the safest, best thing to do is individual counseling or family therapy, none of which will expose kids to more deviant or problematic peers, and both of which are proven to be effective, and at the very least they won't hurt. Parents think, oh well, just send them to treatment just in case. This is not a good idea, because you take a kid who's like experimenting with marijuana and alcohol and you put them in with kids who were shooting heroin and taking these opiate pills, and that's not good. I don't think the state should interfere with people doing things that don't harm themselves or others. And I think we should think very strongly before we interfere with stuff that only hurts you. The thing about our drug laws is that they are not based on science. Science could never get you to make alcohol and tobacco legal and marijuana illegal. Only racism can do that. And that is what we have. We have a system that was devised by racists to create racist ends. If you just look at the history, you will see like Harry Anslinger going on about satanic swing and how reefer will make black people, using a much worse term, think they're as good as white people, which would obviously be a very horrible outcome. This is the basis of our drug laws. Like, we have cocaine laws because they thought that cocaine would make black people impervious to bullets, if only, right?